Hello, class. I want today to talk to you about biomes of the Earth. A biome is a large region that it has similar um, climate and similar rainfall and similar animals in the Earth. So here we're looking at a very quick little map of the rainfall for the different months of the year. The blue sections are the most rain. The white sections are the least rain. So as you can see, there's areas of very little rain in every single continent. There's actually a desert in every continent. Most of the continent of Australia is a desert. The northern part of Africa is a desert. The southwestern part of the United States is a desert. Then we have deserts right around the western part of China. So let's move on. Let's move on to talking about where's the most water. Right through the center of the Earth here, that's the equator, and so it's the warmest, and so you have warm water rising and making rain. So warm, water evaporation, and so lots of rain. So here we have the rainiest parts of the world. We have the islands here. We have the central part of Africa. We have the Amazon rainforest here in South America. Okay, so this is another water vapor. Just picture of the world. The bluest has the most water. This is the same kind of picture we saw a moment ago. And so we have lots of water. Then you have lots of plants. So you have lots and lots of plants here in the Amazon region. We have lots of plants and vegetation growth in the jungles of Africa and in the eastern part of the United States and all through Europe, and especially down here, dark green in the islands. There's several different kinds of biomes, and they're highlighted in different colors here. We're going to talk about one at a time. The rainforest has the most rain. The main rainforests are near the equator, and they are very warm all year long. Rainforests get a very large amount of rain per year. Some say up to 90 or so inches of rain in 1 year. And a rainforest can support the most life. It can have the most plants, and if you have a lot of plants, you're going to have a lot of animals who feed off the plants and take shelter in the plants. Here's a picture of a rainforest. You can see lots of water and lots of vegetation. A deciduous forest gets the second amount of rainfall per year. We live in a deciduous forest because we live here on the eastern part of the United States in America, and we have 4 seasons. The trees decide to drop their leaves in the fall or the autumn, and they do this to protect themselves from the freezing cold of the winter, and then they decide to have new leaves and flowers in the spring to make new kind of seeds and nuts and fruit. Here's a picture of a deciduous forest. This may look like a place near your house. In a deciduous forest, we have animals that we are familiar with, like deer, bear, rabbits, foxes, raccoons, squirrels. We have trees like maple trees, pine trees, oak trees. A grassland gets very little rain per year, so it cannot support very large trees. We have a grassland here in America. We produce a lot of grains and corn and crops in the grasslands area of America, and this is we sell this to the stores. We sell our products to places across the world, and we supply a lot of food for places across the world. We're very lucky here in America to have this grasslands area. Of course, you see also grasslands here in this part of the world near the China, and here in between Europe and Asia. Grasslands are also predictable to drought, and of course that you can have damaging fires. A taiga is like a grassland in that it has very little rainfall, but in the taiga, you usually have pine trees or some kind of trees that have cones, like pine cones on them. And this is a very cold region of the world. So it may snow here a lot, and that's how they get their precipitation. And of course, you see it mostly in Canada and then the Siberia area above Russia. The taiga is very cold. Animals here tend to hibernate or live off the environment in a very different way. Here's a picture of a taiga. You see lots of different kind of evergreen trees. Here may be frozen in most of the year, and then when it thaws out, it is very beautiful also. Now, we have deserts, as you can see, in each of the continents. So there's a desert. Largest desert is the Sahara Desert in the top of northern part of Africa. They're very hot and very dry here. Could be very cold, but at least it's very dry. Here's a picture of the Sahara Desert. We do have animals and plants living in the deserts, and they adapt to the way of life there. Now, the tundra is the coldest place of the Earth and is in the very northern parts of the Earth near the North Pole. Here you have reindeer or caribou and living in a very dry, cold area. Surprisingly, there are animals who can live here and they adapt to that way of life. Most of them are colored in white to help protect themselves from larger predators. Then we have aquatic biomes. A biome underwater is called an aquatic biome. We have saltwater and we have freshwater biomes. The ones near you are freshwater ecosystem biomes. We have little ponds, little lakes near us, and then those are called freshwater ecosystems. Another picture of a freshwater biome where you might have little snails and clams and little plants, little maybe shellfish, other kind of fish, maybe frogs and salamanders, insects, turtles, snakes. Lots of birds live there, and this is a little biome for freshwater. Or it could be in the form of a river or a stream or a creek. You may have one of these near your house. You may like to fish in it or play in it. A freshwater ecosystem flows downhill. The gravity pulls the water down and to the flat areas of our state called wetlands. Some call these marshes and swamps. These are lands that hold plant life and water. Now we have a saltwater biome. Saltwater biome is the opposite of a freshwater biome, which is the water is salty. So you have different types of plants and animals here. Look closely at this picture. This is a picture of an estuary. An estuary is where the river, the fresh water of the river, and that fresh just means there's not much salt in it at all, flows into the ocean. Here is the ocean. Here's the beach. You can see the white of the beach, white sands. So here's the ocean here, and here's the freshwater. Oceans are salty, and the freshwater is not salty. So the estuary is the area I'm circling right here with my little mouse arrow, that where the fresh water meets the salt water and it's brackish water. It's called an estuary. Okay, let's go back up to a saltwater marsh. A saltwater marsh is where lots of grasses grow on the edge of the estuary. So we have changing tides. When the tide moves in, it brings lots of salt water with it. And then when the tide moves out, you have more fresh water. So this is a place where the salt water and the fresh water fluctuate. A saltwater biome is like an ocean of different types of animals and plants who live in the ocean. And there's actually different depths or different sunlight in the ocean. The deeper down you go, the less sunlight reaches the bottom, and the more shallow places have more sunlight, so you can have more plants and animals. Okay, here's a kind of a cross section. Here may be the beach. Here may be boats fishing for things, near this shelf. And then it drops off to deeper waters. Okay, saltwater ecosystems. Most of the earth is covered in water, so most of the earth is a saltwater ecosystem. Lots of different kind of animals living in this kind of biome. Coral reefs. And very interesting living animals at the very deepest parts of our saltwater ecosystem. Thank you for listening to about biomes in science in fifth grade.